Hello, and welcome back to Caden's Corner. Today I'm going to be recapping AEW Dark. The first match of the night was the team of Aaron Solo and Lee Johnson versus the team of Louis Valley and Chris Peaks. I was not a particular fan of this opening match, but it wasn't terrible. Something just felt off. It was off, but not awful. It's actually hard because there aren't too many specifics I can point to why this match didn't feel right to me. I've seen these men perform well before, and so this was just an odd one to me. I ultimately left it with just a score of 7. Also, Chris Peaks kind of does almost nothing during this match. For our second match of the night, we have Ivelisse and Diamante going up against a new tag team of Kylan King and Red Velvet. And boy, was this a fun one. Every single woman stepped up their game for this match. I know that Ivelisse, Diamante, and Red Velvet can be really fantastic wrestlers, but this was the first time I really saw that Kylan King is pretty badass. This is one of the hardest hitting women's matches I've seen possibly ever. This was fucking awesome. Red Velvet has always been fantastic with her striking. It's so visceral, it's unlike so many of the other women in the division. Despite this team of Kylan King and Red Velvet being very new in terms of formation, this match felt almost reminiscent of the style of FTR, in that the corner play, the denial of keeping your opponent away from the corner, pulling your ally to the corner, things like that were really on display, as well as extreme focus on going for an opponent's limb. The third match of the night is another great one. In fact, it's the silver medalist of tonight. It's Top Flight versus the team of Fuego del Sol and John Cruz, who is back. He's been gone for a little while, and it's good to see him. Top Flight came out and put this match to an incredibly relentless pace, something that they're becoming quite famous for now. This honestly felt like a lucha match in some ways. Just all of the flips. This match was very exciting, but there were a few moves, very innovative moves, that did not necessarily go across perfectly. And it's unfortunately because of a few too many of these moves not going. This one ends up with an 8.4, which is still a fantastic score, and I really recommend you see this one too. And of course, everybody's favorite little loser, Fuego del Sol, does not come away with the victory, and of course he does not get the Tornado DDT off. For match number 4, we have the team of the Gun Club going up against Tony Vega, Aaron Fry, and Angel Fashion. Well, truly nothing that special in my opinion. I don't remember any outstanding moves. It was fun really just for a great rampage put on by Billy Gunn. However, nothing leapt out at me that was bad, so I really just left this one with a score of 7.3 because goddamn, Billy Gunn, how do you look that frickin' jacked when you're that old? Like, goddamn. The Gun Club takes another victory. Up next, match number 5 was a bit of a disappointment for me. It was Abaddon versus Renee Michelle, and this was not very good. I really love Abaddon's aesthetic, but she has to be more than just style. She needs some substance, and this match was just stilted from the beginning. It felt almost akin to watching a high school horror movie. Renee Michelle played the role of the Scream Queen tonight, and I really want to see more from her. Both of these women really sell on a visual level, but I've yet to really see something impressive technically from either of them. In this match, there was an over-reliance on gimmicky spots. The most overused one was when, Abaddon gets hit in the head, and her neck snaps back, and then she slowly looks back. All while still standing. She did this 3 separate times that I counted. By the second time, it was boring. I'm not a fan of wielding criticism like a truncheon, but I think it needs to be said. This is probably one of the worst matches on Dark that I've seen in recent memory. I really just want more from these women. I'm sold on their aesthetic already, but they need to back it up. This match ends with a score of 5.9. After that, we do get a fun one. Match number 6 is Stu Grayson versus JD Drake. This is JD Drake's second match, and if you don't remember him, he's the big guy. This whole match has this vibe of like being in a pub and seeing that kind of smaller, scrawnier guy. Not that Stu Grayson is scrawny, mind you. Going over and approaching the biggest guy in the bar and saying, "Fuck you, let's fight." This is also a much better performance for him. His initial match with Eddie Kingston, while intense and similar to his own style, which is brawny, overbearing brute strength and size, it honestly just didn't riff off of Kingston very well. Whereas in this match, Stu Grayson presents an awesome opponent to him as a masochistic, crazed man who just will not go down. There's a very fun sense in the air that both of these competitors have this sense of being underappreciated where they come from. It's not necessarily anything said. But I think it's there. Stu Grayson has been very underappreciated in my opinion. When Stu Grayson came out, they showed that his career-wide record is 25-8. And what's funny is, I don't even remember him being in that many matches. A fantastic match gets a fantastic score of 7.7. What goes up must come down, which leads us to match number 7. Baron Black and Badou versus Bear Country. I'm actually a big fan of both Baron Black, and I want to be a big fan of Badou, but just like Renee Michelle, he has not been given many chances to really do anything. But this match starts slow, and it does not speed up. There's a bad camera angle at one point. The ref's counting feels inconsistent at times, and there really aren't too many flashy moves to point out other than perhaps this one. Bear Country wins and adds one more victory to their count, adding up to 3 now. Well, a fan of big man matches, there really was no juxtaposition between any of the players on the field. I ended up giving the match a 7.3, really hoping for more from Badou. I hope that this does not reflect poorly on his future. I want to see more. Coming upon match number 8, we have a fun 3-man tag team match between the Dark Order's Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, and number 5 versus the team of Levi Shapiro, Ryzen, and John Schuyler. Sorry. Lots of fun action in this one. We get to see Colt Cabana let out a Banjo-Kazooie style "Way!" At least that's what I heard. Alan Angels is on fire for at least a short little stint on this match. Fantastic performance there. All the while, -1 is just giving us gold reactions. Unfortunately, he's not on commentary for this match. And the only other thing I noticed in this match was at one point, Colt Cabana scolds number 5 for getting his opponent and bringing him back up. As in, when his opponent was in the corner and on his ass, he basically grabbed him by the chin and pulled him up. And I thought this was a little funny because a few moments prior, I think I saw Colt Cabana doing the same thing. Just a really fun match. It ends up with a score of 7.6. Oh yeah, how could I forget? Also, at one point, while Colt Cabana was outside of the ring, he picks up -1 for a brief second and then puts him back down. He doesn't even follow through on the full act of picking him up. And the commentators question what he's doing. I think this was a moment where Evil Uno, or one of his opponents, was going to go over the ropes and hit that section where -1 was. But they were smart enough to improv on the fly and not hit the child. In the next match, we get Max Caster versus Jj Garrett, who I heaped praise upon last week. Max Caster comes out singing a somewhat distasteful rap, pointing out Jj Garrett's more feminine features, I guess. He has long hair. Surprisingly simple, but still fun. This match was fairly short and ends up with a score of 7.5. Oh, and yes, Max Caster still doing the hand licking. Why? Why? For match number 10, we get the team of Carly Bravo and Sean Dean, whom fans have been calling lately the Infantry, as they are both ex-military members. And so the Infantry face off against TH2. This was a pretty fun match. Quite a few fun moves. Starts a little bit slow, but it speeds up and it gets good. Something of note is that the Infantry almost get the pin. So, even though they lose this, they get the moral victory. TH2 always brings their own unique brand of manic energy, and this was a fun one. I ended up giving this one a score of 7.5. For match number 11, we have the fan favorite Orange Cassidy squaring off against Steve Stetson for his second match in AEW. And they come out and they have a little bit of fun with, the cowboy has his cowboy hat. Orange Cassidy has, the glasses. It was pretty slow, but there was nothing really appalling or bad about it at all either. There was a strange moment, I thought, when Orange Cassidy kind of just had a conniption. I'm not sure what you would call that. I know I ragged on Steven Stetson in the last week's episode. I don't hate him. No, I don't. But this match did not really change my opinions either. Still need a little bit more information to process before I come to a verdict. Kind of boring, but fast and it's over. It ends with a 7.2. For match number 12, we get Chuck Taylor versus VSK. Decent match. VSK really showed some improvement. He was pretty dang good in this one. However, I get the feeling that Chuck Taylor was holding back because he needs to be in the pay-per-view. And ultimately because of what I felt to be Chuck Taylor's reservations, I left this one with a score of 7.4. For match number 13, we get number 10 versus Daniel Joseph. We do get some -1 on commentary, as he's there to watch number 10 squash this man. And it wasn't too great. He's given us gold before, such as the line of, "This is what hell looks like." But this one was mostly just him not understanding how to use the headset and kind of making a few popping noises, as well as talking over the other commentators a little. Decent performance. Odd commentary. This ends with a score of 7. Oh man, for match number 14, I thought I was having a stroke or something, because the Seidel brothers come out, followed by SCU. And if you remember, last week's ultimate event at the end was these two teams as well as TH2 in the ring in a 3-way tag team match. They even came out in the same order, and the Seidel brothers did the same, thing where they put out the yoga mat. I seriously thought something was wrong with my brain. Well, a better performance than last week's less cohesive mess, for better terms. It wasn't awful. This one is a lot more focused, is what I really mean. Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian always impress me every time they go out, and this was just like any other time. But this time, they had the Seidel brothers to elevate the level of the match. I ended up giving this one a score of 7.8. And that brings us to the end of the show. I am assigning a score to the entire show and giving it an end score of 7.8. I almost gave it an 8, but I don't think I'm quite ready to give that to a dark show yet. There were a few funny tech issues here and there. It was kind of a mixed bag in terms of consistency of scores. But there were some really memorable matches here by dark standards. Also, I feel like we had no debuters tonight. Not a single one I can think of. And it was kind of nice for once. It's always fun to see new faces, but so often these guys show up and then they just disappear. Well, there was no talking on the mic or any significant speaking segment between the fighters. I really feel like they did a good job of selling a physical, wordless story between many of the fighters. They did a great job, and it's fun to see some of these fighters making their place. And with that, we are done. Thank you so very much for watching. This was Caden, tuning out.
Новости культуры из Соединенных Штатов Америки. 6 ноября 1972 года одна из американских так называемых рок-групп, название которой переводится как «Черный шабаш», была награждена премией «Золотой диск». Пластинка, удостоенная столь высокой награды, называется «Том 4», что свидетельствует о чрезвычайной плодовитости ансамбля. При этом для музыки этого американского коллектива характерно так называемое «тяжелое звучание». Ансамбль «Черный шабаш» проповедует насилие и религиозное мракобесие, А его солист Оззи Осборн является собой классический пример нарушения психического здоровья и распада личности у человека, долгое время вращавшегося в сфере
американского шоу-бизнеса.
К числу наиболее нашумевших выходов так называемого певца следует отнести поедание на сцене тухлой летучей мыши, а также высказывания в стиле
Я люблю пить и быть постоянно пьяным.
или «Я не такой сумасшедший, как все думают, я намного хуже».